Hi everybody. This video that I'm doing is going to be called The Starving Narcissist and How Desperate They Get When They're Starving. And this will be part one. A narcissist will starve when they run out of narcissistic supply, and this happens for many reasons. At one point or another throughout the life of their narcissist, they will frequently find themselves utterly alone because everyone around them has just grown tired of all their childish games and tantrums and put downs and selfishness. And so they implement the no contact rule, which is the best when dealing with a narcissist. When this happens, the narcissist will begin to starve, and they will be so devoid of any kind of emotion or redeeming qualities that it's of the utmost importance that they have people around them who provide them with constant attention, whether it be good or negative. When they're deficient of supply, they develop what is called narcissistic deficiency dysphoria. And what this does is basically the narcissist will appear to be depressed. They'll have slower movements. They probably will develop sleep problems. They won't be able to sleep, or they'll sleep too much. And they could also begin to overeat or avoid food altogether. They will constantly be sad. They'll find no pleasure in anything. And then they'll start to display violent mood swings and attacks of actual rage. They will no longer have any self-control, and they will compulsively and ritually resort to an alternative addiction, either alcohol, drugs, reckless driving, shopaholic, or sexual addictions. While in this desert of no supply, they will seem detached and as if they're not there. This is because they start to let their mind wander into their fantasy world, where their narcissistic supply is plentiful and everybody loves and adores them. But that won't last very long, because eventually they will go into a schizoid mode and they'll isolate themselves. At this point, they will use messengers to communicate with the outside. Their smiles will be transformed to frowns. They will become rude to everybody and may even resort to acts of violence. By this time, the narcissist is now blinded by pain and will be desperate to seek to restore their balance of supply. They will turn to those nearest them. At this point, their real attitude will slowly emerge, and for them, their nearest and dearest are nothing but tools. So, all of a sudden, somebody that never got attention from them is getting attention, and if the person getting attention is desperate for their attention or approval, they won't realize that they're just a tool. They won't realize that they're just one-dimensional instruments of gratification for the narcissist. One thing you must know is that any people that are around the narcissist are one of two things. They're either sources of supply or they're pimps for such sources of supply. All in all, catering to the lusts of the narcissist. At the point where the narcissist is starving, they regard friends, colleagues, family members as dysfunctional, frustrating objects. And in their wrath, they will try to mend them by forcing them to perform again, to function. They could have thoughts of suicide, declare to their family that they think they're dying. Many times they'll say, oh, there's something wrong with my heart, or I think I have cancer. They'll be very hypochondriac. And this is how deeply they loathe and hate themselves and their dependence on supply. All through this starvation process, the narcissist is consumed by a pervading sense of malignant nostalgia. They will resort back to their past, which never even existed for them except in their fantasy and grandiosity. And the longer they've been lacking in supply, the more they will glorify, rewrite, miss, and mourn the past. Now, without any supply at all, they begin to panic and feel as if they're a passenger in a runaway auto with no brakes and no steering. And in order to save this panic, they immediately begin to grope around for any morsel of supply. And they will cast a very wide net. They will engage in whatever tactic they believe works best to get them the supply. They will do or say anything in desperate attempts to elicit responses, any response from anybody. In the next video, I'm going to give an example of our narcissist and what she has done to try to get back in to our life. So tune into the next video for a story of a desperate narcissist and what she's doing to become relevant again. Thank you.